One more, and I think we can call it an official win streak, Miami Dolphins fans. What's going on today? It is Ben Morgan of the Fins Up Network. As yes, on Sunday, we took down the Las Vegas Raiders by a score of 34-19. We're going to get into this, what I'm going to call unique game, a very low number of possessions, especially in the first half type of game. I'll break all of that down. We'll talk instant reactions, top takeaways here in a second. But before we do, I want to hear from you. Your thoughts on this game, your top takeaways, which Miami Dolphins player is going to get your game ball. Go ahead and drop that in the comments. If you haven't gotten subscribed yet, make sure you are doing that as well, because I talked about just a weird game, a weird first half specifically. 4 possessions in the first half. I guess you can call that last thing the Dolphins have, where Mike McDaniel refuses to just take a knee. We're spiking the ball with 2 seconds left. So 5 total possessions, but that first Miami Dolphins possession, you're going to bear with me for a little bit here as I talk a lot of numbers. Dolphins' first possession was 14 plays, 70-yard drive, over 8 minutes taken off the clock. We do cap that off with a touchdown, a nice play concept design where you've got Waddle and Hill off to the left. They both run slants, completely vacate the left side of the field. You got Jonnu Smith who catches a ball wide open. The ball was tipped. The line of scrimmage could have been disaster. Regardless, he ends up bringing that in for our first touchdown of the game. Now, the Raiders' first drive, they only get a field goal, but they take nearly 7 minutes off the clock. So we get the ball for our second drive. And these next 2 drives, Dolphins drive, Raider drive, both drives end up taking 16 plays. Dolphins get the field goal back with a 52-yard drive. Raiders end up getting another field goal on a 16-play, 66-yard drive. So of those 5 first-half possessions, like I said, really, truly only 4. No punts, points on all of the realistic scoring opportunities. Then you fast forward into the second half where the game, I'll say, gets a little bit more normal, but once again, it's some methodical drives and no punts. Once again, for the second half and for the entire straight game, we didn't even have to worry about yelling at Jake Bailey this week. What a great feeling that was. We start that thing off. We kick it to them. We get a punt. It goes down to our 3-yard line after a penalty. We go 14 plays, 97 yards. Tua ends up hitting Tyreek Hill on a play where we've seen it from Tua this year. It was a point of emphasis this offseason, creating off script. He does it. He hits Tyreek for the touchdown. Our next possession, 10 play, 60-yard drive. We get an Achane touchdown. Then we finally get a quicker drive, but there happens to only be 4 minutes left to go in the entire game. That's the one where Tua ends up hitting Jonnu Smith on an outright busted coverage from the Las Vegas Raiders. Really puts the game on ice. We get a penalty on a holding call where Jalen Waddle probably wasn't going to catch that ball, but like the announcer said, the holding really messed up the timing of that play. But the offense puts the game on ice with our first and only really quick scoring drive of the entire game. We did add a field goal on the final offensive possession, but talk about a day of just outright sustaining drives. Tua goes 28 for 36, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, no pick. He was sacked twice. He did have the fumble that we did get back. Now, I want to point that out because I had the stat. I should have wrote it down. But Tua is fumbling the ball at an alarming rate. The nice thing, why it's kind of getting swept under the rug a little bit, we're not losing a ton of them. We lost the one last week against the Rams, but we didn't lose this one, so it doesn't feel like as big of an issue. But when he kind of gets into that pocket where it gets muddied and he can't escape and create off script, that protection of the ball just isn't there, and we saw it once again today. But outside of that, a big day, a good day for Tua to be efficient and protect the ball, at least when he's been passing the ball, because the run game was bottled up outside of a couple of Devon Achane carries. As a team, 26 carries, just 82 yards, 3.2 yards per carry. Like I said, Achane did go for 73 on 17 carries, but keep in mind, he did run off 30 yards on a single carry. But what we noticed the last 2 weeks regarding the run game, man, do we miss fullback Alec Ingold. He missed the game again today. And man, do we miss Austin Jackson, who unfortunately is on season-ending IR. The running lanes just have not been there on a consistent basis the last 2 weeks. Now, it was interesting to see Raheem Mostert get some carries today. However, he somehow ended up with more yards last week, despite not having any carries. Because of his 3 carries today, he lost 2 yards. Like I said, the running lanes just weren't there. We couldn't get anything going on the ground. Jalen Wright couldn't find room either. 5 carries, 4 yards. So the run game is definitely an area that we've obviously got to improve on, especially as we're hitting what? We're getting to the middle of November. Weather's going to turn. It's going to get more difficult to run your offense, specifically through the passing game. But props to Tua and that passing game once again this week, moving the ball efficiently, effectively today. And hell, I buried the lead. Let's take a minute to talk about Jonnu Smith. Whew. The evolution of the tight end in this offense in year 3 of Mike McDaniel. We knew it had to happen, and we're seeing it come to fruition. 6 catches, 101 yards. I believe the announcer said that was a career high for Jonnu. And the 2 touchdowns. Like I said, the concentration on that first touchdown to bring in a tip pass. Awesome play right there. And then the speed to house that second touchdown on the busted coverage. Another play where Tua is looking right the entire time. Tracks his progressions back, looks left, sees Jonnu Smith just standing there wide open. So Tua gives it all, gets it over to Jonnu, and then Jonnu basically outruns everyone from there. Jonnu's last 6 games, including today, receiving yards, 101, 45, 46, just 20, but then 96 and 62. That's 3 touchdowns over that span as well. So the addition of Jonnu Smith has, kind of like the announcer said again today, proven to be one of the better free agent pickups of this offseason. He continues to make these big plays on a more consistent basis over the last 6 weeks. Let's talk some about this defense, man, specifically Jalen Ramsey. Have you ever seen a cornerback that absolutely wants to obliterate a ball carrier with every single tackle that he makes? This guy is a machine. Big tackles consistently throughout the game. They didn't really allow much of anything to coverage to actual wide receivers. Wide receivers on the day, 10 receptions, 85 yards. The entire offense, if you watch the game, you know who it was funneled to. The guy we talked a lot about in the preview video with Mitchell Renz of the Raider Report, Brock Bowers, who we will get to here in a second. And then Ramsey has the interception, really put the game on ice in the 4th quarter, coincidentally enough. 2nd straight game against the Las Vegas Raiders for Ramsey where he gets a last-minute interception. Remember, last year he got one that put the game on ice as well. But this guy has proven to be the chess piece that Anthony Weaver said that he would be when he was talking about him all offseason. The versatility in coverage, the blitzing. We saw once again today. Didn't quite get home on the blitz, got his hands up, tipped the ball, damn near created another interception. He runs this defense. The versatility, being able to use him everywhere, sets this defense up for any of the success that is truly having, in my opinion. But where we struggled, we said the name. Well, one more thing before that. Tackling and then covering the tight end. Tackling in general was a bit of an issue again today, especially Kader Kohou a couple of times, most notably on the Amir Abdullah touchdown. I combined his first and last name. He basically had him dead to rights at the line of scrimmage. Could have just tackled him, almost shoved him out of bounds, and he completely whiffed on the tackle. Amir Abdullah scores. Raiders are right back in that game. So we've definitely got to clean that up. And another thing, allowing 13 catches for 126 yards and a touchdown to Brock Bowers. Now, I am going to give a little pass on the Bauer stuff because he proved to be the majority of the offense. No one else on this Raiders team today killed the Dolphins in really any matter. Brock Bowers is going to be a force in this league for years to come. The touchdown that he scored, I believe it was like a 3rd and short situation. He just proved to be a mismatch for Jordan Poyer. Jordan Poyer cannot hang right now. I don't know if there's a lot of safeties right now that can hang one-on-one with Brock Bowers, but Jordan Poyer proved that he couldn't today. He even had some friendly fire on that, so that didn't help the situation. But Bowers had that big touchdown. He had another 1 or 2 4th down conversions when the game was still undecided late in the game. I'm going to have to look to see which tight ends we've got upcoming on the schedule because, once again, we talk about points of emphasis moving forward. Well, we've seen it a couple of times now this year. We started by being pretty solid against tight ends. Well, we've had a couple of games in the not so distant past here, or recent past, I guess I should say, where the tight ends have kind of gotten us a little bit. And Bowers really took a number on us today. But how about the job we did against the Raiders ground game? I talked in the preview video about how we've got an opportunity to move in the top 10 in rushing defense this year. And I think we might have done it after this week. The Raiders go 16 carries, 60 yards, just 3.8 yards per carry. Now, that includes a couple of wide receivers running the ball and Minshew as well. Raiders running backs, just 11 carries for 29 yards on the ground. So another nice day for Calais Campbell in the middle. He added a sack as well. That one-armed tackle that he had on Minshew, I can't believe he had it, but Calais Campbell, props to you and your old man's strength. That was unbelievable. Another nice game for Zach Sealer as well. Nice plays up the middle. He had a nice tackle for a loss on the day. And the linebackers, statistical tackling machines. Jordan Brooks, 12 tackle. Anthony Walker, 10 tackles. I did not see Tyrell Dodson with any snaps on defense. I could be wrong there. It was just me watching the game just a few minutes ago. I did see him play a little bit on special teams, though. So that's definitely something that we're going to have to keep our eye on here moving forward, how the linebacker snaps come out. But I do want to talk about my game ball as well, and it's the guy on offense where I said that we buried the lead, because how about Jonnu? We are seeing maybe a little bit less of Jalen Waddle right now with Jonnu's kind of emergence in this offense. I don't necessarily think those two things are directly correlated. I think that's more of the way defenses are playing with us. They're pressing us at the line of scrimmage. They're playing safety help over the top. It's just taking away what we do as a natural strength. But regardless, Jonnu Smith has become a guy. I told you what he's done in the last 6 weeks. Become a guy that defensive coordinators, they need to care about. They need to worry about, they need to assign people to at this point in time. And I'm just curious to see at some point in time, does what Jonnu Smith is doing offensively really open things up for the rest of our guys? Because if defenses start paying attention a little bit more to Jonnu Smith and to the Miami Dolphins having these very practical, methodical drives, is that going to open up some of these deeper plays for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? But that was the evolution we talked about. Not only did we want production statistically from the tight end position, but what it can do to open up other people. We've got to wait and see if that ends up becoming a thing now that defenses probably should start respecting what Jonnu Smith is doing. All right, Dolphins fans, looking ahead. We are now 4-6. We are at home next week against the New England Patriots, who lost 28-22 today against the Rams. So they fall to 3-8 on the season. But we will be chatting more about that throughout the week upcoming here as we get you set for what's that going to be? Week 12 of the NFL season. But like I said, Dolphins fans, 4-6. Let's get a winning streak started. I think officially a winning streak has to be 3 games. That's why I've been saying that, in case you're like, hey, idiot, they've just won 2 games in a row. By my calculations, a streak has to be 3 games. All right, I've rambled on long enough, Miami Dolphins fans. Until next time, fins up.